I think it's time to talk about how you spend your money. What kind of property do you find? I know how much you've spent on it in the last 2 years, right? Chris Doumitt quit Gold Rush. And it's not just a goodbye. In season 15, a crazy thing happened. Fans have seen him handle every problem, fix every machine that breaks, and make sure that Parker Schnabel's business runs smoothly. What could make the men who dig for gold the most trusted quit for good? The stress got to be too much for Chris this season, and he broke. Parker was after something crazy, 10,000 ounces of gold. This was the goal hunt that almost broke them from the start. A number that seemed too high to be true. Parker doesn't set small goals though. To get it done, he turned up the heat and ran Bob's plant, Big Red and Rock Sand all at the same time. It looked like a great idea on paper. More plants must mean more gold, right? Not really though. It was getting too hard for everyone on the team behind the scenes, but Chris Doumitt felt it the most. Before we get into it, one thing is for sure: what happened behind the scenes was much more serious than anyone thought. What's next will also blow your mind. He's always been the one in the background who makes sure the gold keeps coming in. The work became almost impossible this season though. It's non-stop work to clean out the sleeve boxes and make sure that not a single bit of gold gets lost for 3 wash plants. That is not only hard, it breaks my back. The man wasn't getting any younger, and working non-stop was wearing him down. I hate it when we have to do things we don't want to do because we need to get ounces out of the ground quickly. I hate that. He did everything he could, but even the toughest guys have to know when enough is enough. If you've been watching Gold Rush for a while, you know he doesn't like to complain, but he had no choice this season. He was so busy with work that he had to either speak up or break down. No amount of experience could change that. It had to get better. Parker wasn't going to take someone off a machine to help in the gold room because the crew was already busy. He was in a tough spot because of that. Tatiana Costa comes in. She is one of the best players on the team, but you wouldn't normally see her with the gold. He said her name as a possible backup, and Parker had to decide what to do. Mitch and Tyson didn't want to lose her, but they had to, or they would have to watch him leave for good. Parks finally agreed. Tatiana was being trained, and there was finally some extra help. But was it too late or too little? The stress didn't go away even when there were more people in the gold room. There was no stopping Parker's desire for gold, and as the season went on, cracks began to appear. When season 4 began, Chris Doumitt joined Parker's crew. He quickly became one of the most important people on the group. But every man has limits, and this season put them to the test in ways no one saw coming. He didn't really plan his way to Gold Rush. He first worked as a carpenter making houses for Todd Hoffman's crew, but one thing led to another, and he was gold digging before he knew it. It turned out he was really good at it. Everything changed when he joined Parker's team. Parker broke records every year in the gold room thanks to his skill, but even the best can only handle so much. He's already overloaded with work, so the real question isn't whether he can keep up, but whether he wants to. Fans can't imagine Gold Rush without this hard-working warrior. He's been there through the good times and bad, and even when things got crazy, he kept things going. But this season feels different. It looks like he might be done for good for the first time because of all the stress, tiredness, and work that needs to be done. Being a gold miner is a tough job. You need to be tough, patient, and able to keep going, but you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Chris has spent years making sure the business runs smoothly, but should he quit if it means putting his health and happiness at risk? That's the question that keeps coming up as the season goes on. What will happen to the rest of the team if he does leave? Even though Chris had been through tough seasons before, this one was the worst. The gold room was getting worse. The crazy goal was to find 10,000 ounces of gold. Everyone is feeling a lot of pressure because it's such a big task. Chris has been through this hard work before and may have finally had enough. The team will lose a key player if he leaves. They need that person to keep things running smoothly. Gold, on the other hand, can push people away, and Chris doesn't give up easy. Chris has been on the team for more than 10 years and does a lot more than just dig up dirt. He is in charge of making sure that every bit of gold is found and is the one who keeps things calm when the team is in a tough spot. Before he came here, he wasn't even a miner. He was just a handyman who got pulled in by accident. He quickly learned how to do things once he was there, though, showing that he was one of the hardest workers out there. He's now one of the few things that hasn't changed in this kingdom that's after gold. Chris's most important job is in the gold room, which is where dirt is turned into pure money. It's not an easy job. If you make a mistake, real money goes away. Chris knows how to do it right and make sure nothing goes to waste. Because of what he does, their gold salvage numbers would not be nearly as high without him. There is a lot at stake, and in a game where every bit counts, you have to put the right person in charge of cleanups. Chris makes sure that each run is used to its fullest potential. Chris is more than just numbers in gold pans, though. He's what holds the group together. How's it going, man? Oh, not too bad. Good to see you, buddy. You too. Hey T, how you doing, man? Oh, much. Cleaning gold, yeah, non-stop. Every day is a fight in mining because of the long hours, bad weather, and broken tools. High standards don't make things better, they make things worse. Chris's lack of stress and dry sense of humor keep things from getting too bad. When things get tough, everyone turns to him. He helps the team stay together, more than just keeping everyone motivated. He's a key decision maker who can be counted on to speak up when things get tough, like when they need to figure out the best way to process gold, fix broken equipment, or handle crew trouble. Chris speaks the truth. He's shown over the years that he's not just another worker, he's an important part of keeping this business going. The real test came when a ridiculously hard goal was set. Running 3 wash plants at the same time was a silly goal, and the goal of 10,000 ounces in one season was almost impossible. It was a mess, and Chris was hit the hardest. It was his job to make sure that all the slave boxes were empty, that all the gold was cleaned properly, and that nothing got lost in the chaos. He was pushed past his limit, and for the first time he could see himself giving up. He's starting to see the 10,000 go kind of dwindling away. We probably could do 10 right, but then like our costs would go up by 50%. Extra hands had to be brought in just to keep things from falling apart. It was clear without Chris, this goal was a pipe dream. Chris's legacy on Gold Rush can't be ignored. He went from not knowing anything about mines to becoming one of the most respected people in the business. Fans love him because he works hard, stays dedicated, and keeps the group together. If one man is the public face of the business, Chris is the backbone, the person who makes sure everything works. Everyone knows that things would be very different without him. The big question, though, is still there. Is Chris finally ready to end things? When guys work non-stop for years and are under a lot of pressure to break records all the time, even the biggest guys reach their limits. For the team to fill the void, if he walks, they will have to work hard. He will be tired and stressed out for another season if he stays. Things are going to change either way. Gold Rush is about to lose one of its most famous players. Will Chris stay for one last chance to win big? There is no doubt that gold digging has never been this hard. Even though Parker never took the easy way out, his story didn't start out well. At first there was a kid who wouldn't give up, no matter what. The kid that took over getting gold. Hey Dot, he was learning how to use things that most people would find hard before he was even old enough to tie his own shoes. After a few years he was effortlessly balancing school and digging. He was on the basketball team in high school, but let's be honest, his heart was always with mine. College? Yes, that was a choice. He even thought about going to school to study geology or mines, but in the end teachers and books didn't help him. He put his savings where his desire was, into his own mining business, instead of wasting years in classes. That choice changed my whole life. He took over running the Big Nugget mine when he was only 16 years old. That sounds crazy, a kid telling 2 older guys how to do their jobs. He knew what he was doing though, so he wasn't just telling people what to do. There's more to mining than just making holes and looking for gold. It takes a lot of work, a lot of danger, and a fight against nature. He showed that he had the guts, brains, and drive to do it. Then reality TV came along with the big break. In the early 2010s, Discovery Channel showed Gold Rush, a show about families who were ready to risk everything to try to get rich. He and his family were right in the middle of it all, and soon people couldn't get enough of seeing this young miner go against the odds. Yeah, Jordan's starting to catch up. He's going a little bit faster now. See you right as I leave. He'll be right behind me with a full box. It wasn't enough to just be on the show though. He had bigger plans. When he was in his late teens, he did something that shocked everyone. He quit the mine his family owned to go work for himself in the Yukon. It was a crazy risk, but he never liked to play it safe. He hired people to work on the land, bought tools and got to work. Also, guess what? It worked out. He found more than 1,000 ounces of gold in his first season going by himself. There's no luck in that. That's pure purpose. His business only got bigger and riskier with each season. His following grew, and he showed that he wasn't just a kid riding on the coattails of his grandpa. He was the real deal. It wasn't just about digging. His story showed that age doesn't matter if you have the skills and drive to do well. He not only made it through the gold game, he ruled it. Gold Rush was just the beginning of the show. He took mining to a whole new level in Gold Rush, Parker's Trail, which was based on his first big hit. He stopped digging in one place and went around the world, following old gold mine tracks and going into uncharted country, from the rough Klondike Trail in Canada to the thick woods of Papua New Guinea. He proved he wasn't scared of impossible tasks. He went after them, but life wasn't always bright and happy. A lot of things went wrong for him, especially in his personal life. He was seeing Ashley, an Australian veterinary nurse, and she even went on the show for a while, but the relationship didn't last because of the constant work of digging and the stress of being famous. He said that juggling work and relationships wasn't always easy for him. If we run a yard, we need to get 155 milligrams, 40 buckets. That's how he was. Mining always came first. He's not just a TV star trying to make money off of his moment of fame. This person lives, drinks and dreams gold digging. He's now in his 30s, but he's still as determined as ever to make more money and push the edges of what's possible in the business. His fame hasn't made him weaker, it's probably made him more driven. The real question is how long he can keep this up. Not only is mining hard physical work, it's also unexpected, dangerous, and full of failures. He's made a lot of money, and lost a lot of money too. Will he leave the life of digging for something a little more stable in the end? He is too involved in this world for him to ever leave it. Will he ever stop for a while and just focus on the gold? For now, he still has one of the most famous names in gold. There's one thing for sure, he's not done yet, whether he's getting rich or having a hard time. What happens when the gold runs out though? That's the real story that needs to be told. It's hard to mine gold, and one mistake can ruin everything. People who keep going and learn to change always find a way to win. The numbers that changed Gold Rush. You can't just dig up some shiny rocks and get rich right away in gold. Gold Rush has shown that over and over again. The show makes it look like an adventure, but it's actually a lot worse. People who mine for gold risk their money, time, and even their health in order to get a few nuggets. Some people hit it big, some crash and burn, and some are hanging on by the teeth. Let's look at Season 3. After a rough year, Todd Hoffman's crew finally had a good one when they found over 800 ounces of gold. This made them more than $1 million. Not bad, right? But Parker Schnabel, the young star, was already showing that he was the one to keep an eye on. One miner was grinding and getting close to 200 ounces while Hoffman was having fun. Meanwhile, Dakota Fred Hurt pulled out more than 160 ounces, but it was clear that he wasn't able to keep up with the younger athletes. Season 4 came along, and there was no time to waste. The work began after renting land at Scribner Creek, which led to over 800 ounces in one season. He and Rick Ness then went all out and pushed their total to over 1,000 ounces, which broke Hoffman's records and made him look like a beginner. It was now clear that someone else was in charge of the gold rush, and Hoffman was just moving along. When Season 5 started, The numbers made everyone else look bad. It brought in more than 2,500 ounces of gold, which is worth about $3 million. The Hoffman crew still had a hard time staying current, but they were able to mine more than 1,300 ounces of gold and make more than $1.5 million. It wasn't bad, but compared to the best miner, it was like seeing a kid try to run faster than a race car. In season 6, things got really hot. The rough old miner Tony Beats joined in with his family, pulling out more than 700 ounces of gold with a dredge that was older than some of the crew, but they didn't slow down. They dug up more than 3,300 ounces, which is worth almost $3.5 million. The Hoffman crew finally had a good year though. They made just over 3,000 ounces, but they were still a long way behind. By the 7th season, the numbers were just way off. They caught more than 4,300 ounces, which is worth more than $5 million. At the same time, Tony Beats and his team worked on their dredge system and got just over 2,000 ounces. The gap was getting bigger, and one worker was going fast. Season 8 was once again a great year. The group dug up more than 6,200 ounces, which is worth a huge $7.5 million. Tony Beats kept it up, pulling in over $4 million, with over 3,600 ounces. There was no denying the rule, and it was clear who was smarter and busier than everyone else. After season 9, Scribner Creek set a goal of 7,000 ounces. That goal was not only met but blown out of the water by over 7,400 ounces, which is worth almost $9 million. Rick Ness didn't quite make it past 1,000 ounces as he tried to prove himself after coming out of. Tony Beats, on the other hand, didn't reach his 6,000 ounce goal. He only got just under 4,400 ounces. With another win, the winner has had another great season. Season 10 showed how smart the best miner had grown. Even though it was only 200 ounces less than last season, the higher price of gold meant more money in the end. More than $10 million worth of gold had been found by the end of the season. At the same time, Rick Ness had a hard time after moving to Duncan Creek and was barely making ends meet. Tony Beats had to move his business to Paradise Hill, but he still made more than 2,200 ounces. There was still competition, but one person was playing chess and everyone else was playing checkers. In season 14, a target weight of 5,000 ounces was set. Did you reach your goal? Of course not. It broke apart. Over 7,300 ounces, worth about $15 million, were taken by the end. Meanwhile, Tony Beats had problems and only got just over 3,000 ounces, even though he had hoped to get 6,000 ounces. Rick Ness caught over 1,100 ounces and made over $2 million after taking a year off. The numbers were correct. One worker was just ahead of everyone else. Yeah, it's been a challenge finding people that can get into the Klondike, right? See you. It's just like quite a few borders to get through. That's the thing about Cash Rush. It's not just digging in the ground and trying to find cash. It's about having a plan, being determined and knowing when to take chances. Some of them figured it out early, but guys like Hoffman had a hard time getting used to it. The ones who knew what they were doing always found a way to win, even when things went wrong. The weather was bad, and the luck was even worse. The success wasn't a fluke. It happened because they were always looking for new ways to get more gold, pay less in fees and buy the right tools. They changed the rules by studying how other mining companies did things and even going to places like Australia to learn more about them. Because of this, they kept winning season after season. They were never afraid of change. Gold Rush makes gold digging look exciting, but it also shows how cruel the business can be. You can be ruined by one bad season. A bad choice can set you back years, and a big fine can make all the difference. Parker Schnabel found the way to win, and the gold will keep coming in as long as he keeps doing the right thing. A lot of people watch each new season to see if any marks will be broken, if Tony Beats will finally catch up, or if a new winner will emerge. People who are very smart and tough will never be able to get their hands on the gold. Why did Chris Doumitt quit Gold Rush?
Was it because of all the stress, or is there a bigger story behind his shocking decision? Let us know what you think, and don't forget to like and follow for more.